Well, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us for our kickoff session of our Community Reentry Resource Connections webinar series, which is our lunch hour, lunch and learn sort of program, where we will be introducing you to community organizations, resource agencies, and any pertinent organizations, agencies here throughout the state of Georgia that can connect you to resources. And so we are very thankful today for Technical College System of Georgia for helping us kick off this webinar series to get you educated and aware of some great resources in the community. And of course, they're going to be talking to us today about their diplomas and certification programs throughout the state of Georgia. We will have them do a presentation, and then we'll have to do some Q&A. Again, I'm Walisha Wilson. I'm the founder of New Life Second Chance Outreach. We are a resource sharing hub for Georgians who are impacted by an arrest, conviction, or incarceration. And this is what we do. We like to share resources with folks so they can get what they need to not only survive, but thrive. We have several events coming up virtually. This is the first in our kickoff session. Next week on the 18th, we will be having introducing of another organization, Resilience Education, that connects justice impacted folks to reentry resources and education, but also they work to support second chance employers and train second chance employers. And so please join us next Thursday at same time, lunchtime, for that presentation in October. We're going to be working with Awakening Voices, who will be coming with us to honor and give us awareness around domestic violence. And we do have two other folks, one legal organization and another organization that's coming in November. Since November is a holiday time, we will be focusing on helping people with things they need for the holidays, whether that be groceries, toys, rental assistance, hotel vouchers. And so November and December, not going to have one in December, but in November, that is going to be what we're going to be holding on. So be sure to join us and register for these events. This Friday, we will also be in Columbus for some events. Friday, we'll be doing an info session, non-legal info session, may I mind that, to give you information about early probation and termination, voting rights, as well as some small information on gun rights restoration and record restriction in Muskogee County. Saturday, we will be tabling at a resource fair at St. James on 6th Avenue. So come out and get connected to the resources that'll be there. And then at 3 o'clock on Saturday, we will be at the North Columbus Library doing a voter education workshop for individuals who want to vote and learn the process of how they vote, how to check their voter status, and to be able to let them know about their right to vote in the state of Georgia with a felony. As long as they are not currently on paper, have not had their first offender revoked or their conditional discharge revoked, and are not currently incarcerated for a felony. And that's even if you do owe fines, fees, and restitution. So make sure we drop the link in the chat so you can register for that. And right now we will introduce you to Nikki Gilbert and Amy Schaefer, who are here to tell you about the programs that TCSG, Technical College of Southern Georgia, Technical College Systems of Georgia, have throughout the state of Georgia. And if I'm not mistaken, they have over 88 locations. And that's diplomas, 2-year diplomas, right? Certifications and associate degrees. So if you have questions, you'll be able to get your questions answered at the end. But if you have some questions, and if you're like me and you tend to forget, feel free to drop your question in the chat. And if they're able, they will answer your questions in the chat, and what's not answered will get answered at the end. All righty. Thank you. There you go, ladies.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. I'm going to get ready to share my screen, everyone. Please let me know is that sharing now? Can you see the presentation? Perfect. Excellent. Well, my name is Nikki Gilbert, and we have Amy Schaefer here. We are healthcare program managers with the Technical College System of Georgia. Amy and I both come from technical colleges before transitioning over to the system office to work in our healthcare initiatives division. And with that, we've been looking at some initiatives on how we can educate the state of Georgia on all of our wonderful opportunities, whether they are our education programs for academic credit or professional development. So we're going to share some information with you today. I see that the class code is in the upper right-hand corner. So if you can see that, just disregard that, okay? You don't have to use that class code. So who is TCSG? So we have 22 colleges throughout the state, and as Ms. Wilson implied, we have multiple satellites, colleges and campuses for that. So although we may have a college, a primary college in a service area, we will have satellite campuses to help meet that local service area. Within our colleges, we have several departments. We have our adult education. Most people are familiar with them if they're looking for GED or English as a second language opportunities. We have our technical education, which will include our academic programs. So that's going to be programs such as computer technology, business, healthcare, nursing, manufacturing, industrial trades, public safety, things of that nature. We also have our workforce development training. When we talk about workforce development, you can look at that in two different ways. You can look at that in the sense of professional development. You can also look at that in customized training. That could be for organization, or if you need some specific skills for a job, you can come to us and get those non-credit hours. Then we also have WorkSource Georgia. This particular department is new to TCSG, and they help provide career and education services to those who are looking for work. They also include our rapid response team, so that if an organization has announced that they have a reduction in force, then this particular department goes in to help those displaced workers. So I'm going to transition over to Amy, who's going to talk about our adult education programs.
All right. Hi, everybody. I am Amy Schaefer. As Nikki mentioned, she and I are healthcare program managers for the Healthcare Initiatives Division of the technical college system. And I wanted to start today off by giving a little bit more information about our adult education programs. So these programs are at all of our 22 colleges. They do look a little bit different at each college based upon the community resources and the community partners that are serving that area. But the thing that they have in common is they all provide foundational skill building opportunities. So if you are someone who needs their GED or did not get their high school equivalency, you can do that at one of the technical colleges. They offer English as a second language courses and civics courses for folks that may not be native English speakers. They also offer foundational skills courses such as reading and basic mathematics courses if you're not ready to take the GED, but you would like to improve your literacy skills in that regard. They also provide pathways to technical training. So if you are looking to develop your skills in a career that the technical college system offers, there are pathways that you can start working on your high school equivalency and continue moving forward while you're in the system with support from the adult education program and also from the technical education side of the house as well, to make sure that you stay on that pathway and get through and earn your training or earn your credential that you're looking for. And one of the ways that we do that is through what we call integrated education and training programs, or IET programs. So these programs combine your training for your GED with some of the technical education and occupational training that you might want to get you into the workforce faster, so that you can try and move through these things at the same time, rather than doing one step and then the next semester oftentimes doing the next step. You can sometimes combine these and get done a little bit quicker in those high demand career areas in particular are where we're focusing for these. And then the greatest thing about our adult education programs is that it is a supportive learning environment. There are advisors and coaches and folks that are there just to support the adult learner in this program and make sure that they have the things that they need to move through the program. And you have the driver, not me.
Sorry, going
You're
really
good. I'm
slow.
just
It's
trying
coming.
to switch. So moving on, we have some information about our academic programs next. And so these are the programs that people usually think about when they think about going to college. And we've broken these down to our different categories. So the technical colleges offer general education courses, which include things like math, English, sometimes history, sciences, things like that are required typically to complete a diploma program, an associate degree program, or even a bachelor's degree program. It's common for folks to come to the technical system and get these basic education courses and then transfer to a 4-year degree with those courses at a future point. So those are the general education classes. And then from there, typically people specialize. So you might be interested in some of our business education programs, and that would be things like accounting, management, marketing, entrepreneurship, if you're interested in starting your own business. And they teach you that foundational business knowledge across different industries. Then we also have allied health, public safety, and nursing education. And these include things, again, at the certificate, diploma, and associate degree level. So there are different pathways and different entry points in all of the topic areas that we're discussing here. But that might include things such as a nurse aide certificate, dental assisting certificate, medical imaging degree, phlebotomy certificate, medical assisting. The EMS or EMT paramedicine programs fall under here. And then we also have some things, if you think you might want to be in healthcare, but you don't want to actually touch people, we also have some indirect patient care ideas. So there's a business healthcare pathway for folks that are interested in combining their business sense, but in the healthcare arena. So like billing and coding might fall under that. Some of the record keeping that goes on with electronic medical records would fall under business healthcare, those types of things. And then we also have careers such as central sterile processing supply, where you are taking care of surgical instruments and cleaning them and sterilizing them and repackaging them so that they can be used again if they're reusable supplies and all of the components of that. And then clinical lab technology is another opportunity for folks to be involved in healthcare but not be in direct patient care, where you are collecting lab samples and reviewing and assessing those and giving reports back about what's in the samples and reporting back to other healthcare providers for that. We also have professional services education programs. And so that is going to be, again, certificate, diploma, and associate degree level training, depending on what you select. But that would include things such as early child care education. We have cosmetology, and we have some esthetician programs now under this as well. And some of our colleges are offering barbering as well as cosmetology. Then we also have our industrial and technical education, and this is a pretty robust list. We do not have everything listed here, but these are a lot of those important careers that often we don't think about that need workers to keep the country running and to keep trucks on the road and goods moving from one place to another. So this would be like automotive repair, aviation, repairing airplanes or preparing airplanes for their assembly process, supply chain management, diesel equipment technologies, that's repairing and maintaining those big construction equipment devices as well as diesel trucks on our roads, transportation technologies, building and manufacturing technologies. We've got construction in here, and then we also have our commercial truck driving or CDL programming that falls under this area. And then our last one that we're going to talk about is the computer technology and digital medical education category. And that's for folks that really want to work with computers and IT systems, designing code, developing websites, looking at user experiences within those websites, analyzing issues, computer networking, developing different programs, creating networks to maintain and design businesses so they can have the flow that they need for their internal IT systems. Maintaining, repairing electronic equipment, computer hardware, medical equipment, those types of things are all under this computer technology and digital medical education umbrella. So those are the credit offerings that we have in the system. Then Nikki mentioned WorkSource earlier. So our WorkSource Georgia organization, they do workforce training programs, and they are looking at folks that are needing to enter the workforce a lot quicker than folks that are maybe going to come to the credit side of the house. And they give them essential employability skills, that you need to enter the workplace. So that would include things like communicating in a specific workplace, teamwork, soft skills. So some of those soft skills are things like how to have a good customer service personality and in the role that you're looking into. Basic computer skills such as emailing, using spreadsheets, those types of things that might get your foot in the door somewhere. And then they also have some programming for technical training for specific roles for partners that they have made with like individual organizations that are like, hey, we need this specific skill, and they'll do a training for that. And our WorkSource Georgia, the image over here on the it's my right, I think it's your right too, is the regions for WorkSource Georgia. So there are 19 WorkSource Georgia offices, and they're regionalized, and you can visit there and they can help you with writing your resume and getting connected directly with employers through their website, as well as the offerings that we have within the technical colleges themselves. Moving on to our workforce training programs. So WorkSource is its own entity that services usually on the employer side. We also, each college of our 22 colleges has either a continuing education or an economic development program. And they might have different names, but they have the same purpose. So they provide local employers training, customized training for different things that local employers may need. They also have a variety of short-term industry recognized credentialing programs that you can earn through their training program as well. The big difference between their training courses and what is offered on the academic side is these are not college credit earning credentials. So you can earn them, but they would not be viewed as the same thing as earning a college credential on the credit side and being able to be applied to move to a higher degree level later. But there's some examples here of some of the things that they offer. And this is not an all-inclusive list, and I only included things that I thought I could talk about because there is a lot of things that I didn't even know what they were on the list. But under business and industry, they have a lot of OSHA training. So if you need like your OSHA, I think 13 certificate to work somewhere. Safe serve is commonly something that is required to work in restaurants. CPR and first aid may be required. They have a mine safety program if you are somewhere that is important. They also offer computer skills, so Microsoft Office Suite, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, QuickBooks if you're working in a small business. They have industrial maintenance topics. This is just a sampling of those, but reading mechanical blueprints, training on different mechanical and electrical items in terms of repairing and maintaining that equipment as well as operating it. They do have some welding training. They have manufacturing topics that include things like introduction to automation. So if you're working in a factory where there's automated processes happening, they would have these trainings that would help you to be prepared to be the human operating the automated parts and troubleshooting when something happens there. They also have a lot of just professional development, which might be things that you are interested in for your personal as well as professional. So in order to fly a drone in the state of Georgia, you can operate that with FAA clearance. So there is a FAA drone pilot certification and training program for that. There's training to be a real estate agent. If you would like to learn more about real estate, you can earn a paralegal certification if you're interested in learning more about paralegal for your personal life or to branch out and make that into employment. And then there are other things such as HVAC repair and maintenance that falls under that as well. And then a lot of these are a combination of in-person or online programs, but there are some that are strictly online, and those include things like computer skills, medical billing and coding credentials, sterile processing technician, and then this one was new to me, a freight broker. So that's the person that oversees and manages the different pickup and drop off of tractor trailer 18-wheeler loads. So there's a person that brokers the different mechanisms for that.
Excellent. So now we're going to talk about some financial aid opportunities as you're looking at your career opportunities within our system. So when we look at adult education programs, we have several opportunities, and note that all of them are free. So we have our high school equivalency diploma, Career Plus, if you're looking at ESL, adult basic skills, career training, and digital literacy. So those are free services throughout adult education department upon all of our colleges. So these classes are offered by each service provider in the community, and community members must meet the eligibility requirements. And then if you're interested in any of those, again, you just have to go to one of the departments at your local area and go into the adult education area and ask for information on that. Amy talked about the IET programs where you can work on getting your high school equivalency and also work on an academic program at the same time. I do want to emphasize that for that, usually you want to pair that with a certificate program because our certificate level programs are the entry level programs to advance to those associate degrees. But you do want to note too that most of those programs are also free or low cost. Give me just a second. We have a bell going on and I just want to make sure there's nothing going on. Okay. So those programs are mostly free or low cost. And then a lot of our IET programs are paired with what we call our high demand careers. And so they receive extra grant money for that, which usually makes that program tuition free as well. So lots of opportunities that you have here up in our adult ed programs for financial aid. Then we have academic programs as well that qualify for financial aid. We have our Hope Grant and Hope Career Grant. So you can see for Hope Grant, it's kind of like if you want to think about it as a Hope Scholarship for technical colleges, it's for our diploma and certificate programs. And then if you look at the Hope Career Grant, those are specifically for programs that are on our high demand career list. So these are careers that Georgia has identified as needing workforce that we need over a certain period of time. And that we need to promote and recruit for. Then we also have federal financial aid, so things like Pell Grants there, where you look at your tax reimbursement and then see how much you're eligible for. And then all of our colleges have institutional scholarships. Some have those that are from organizations or employers relevant to that specific area or to specific programs. So the only way you would know about those scholarships is to go to that local technical college and apply or at least inquire from their department what scholarships are available there. I want to pause for a second and just see if there are any questions. I did take a look at the chat really quickly, just to make sure, but.
Oh, well, I had put one in there. You had spoke about on the last slide when you said, I want to say something about it's recommended for you to take something with it. So you didn't have to stop or you can answer it later, but it was on that. You said something was good, but to take something else with it. And I wanted you to repeat that.
Yes, yes. So in your question, I think you're talking about where you have the GED program and then the free programs. You want to pair that with a high career, a high demand career program.
Okay.
So that way you get the grant funding for that as well.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. Okay.
Now, while we're on the Hope Grant,
Yes.
I can't remember. I want to make sure, and you probably don't know. So if you don't know, don't worry about it. I'll make sure I get the answer if we don't. But I know folks with criminal convictions at some point were, have you heard about that? Where they were not allowed to get the Hope Grant, but then there had been some changes. But because I don't keep up with a lot of the educational stuff,
Yes.
if there are any changes, can you give us updates on those changes?
So one of the things that has changed is that so the Georgia Futures, which kind of supports all of the financial aid within the state of Georgia, they're asking for applicants to go ahead and fill out the free application, and then it will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So all of our colleges will admit students. They don't look at the criminal history, but for financial aid purposes, they do look at that. So it just kind of depends. It varies on what the history is. And then what it may reflect is how much you get. So you may not get the full amount, but you may get some of it. That's how it works. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
You're very
I
welcome.
will say it is still changing in terms, I think it's more of a fluid. I don't think there's going to be now it's done changing, but it's fluid in terms of the requirements. And when we last spoke to our contact at the technical system office, if I'm not mistaken, there were some limitations for access to some of the HOPE funding for certain drug related convictions, but not all. And most other convictions were not preventing people from getting funding, was what they were moving towards. So we'll definitely get some additional information and send that back out to confirm that. But that was our most recent update, was the upcoming plan.
Excellent. Perfect. And here's where we wanted to talk about that high demand career list. So this list is pretty exhaustive, and it's listed by occupational code. So it doesn't specifically say, for instance, registered nursing. It says nursing. So to encompass a series of occupations that relate to nursing. Sorry, one more bell. Give me 1 second. And so with that, it gives us a lot of flexibility for those who are looking for specific career categories to look at all of the programs that relate to that career, if that makes sense. But we do have that list, and we will be sharing it as well after the presentation, so that anyone who's interested in looking at any of the careers on that. So it's not just healthcare. It goes from professional services and public services to digital marketing, things of that nature. So it's very exhaustive. But that list is what we're talking about when we're asking you to look at IET programs that pair well with the programs that are associated with those high demand careers. You can also, if you already have your high school diploma or high school equivalency, then when you're ready to go into one of the academic programs, you can also just apply for one of those programs on that list as well directly. So in that, like I said, you do get extra grant money towards the tuition and also for fees. So a lot of our students end up going through, especially a certificate program, with only having to pay for their personal finances and then maybe some of the supplies. And that could be like uniforms, or if they have a toolkit or something like that. So very, very beneficial to those who are looking for those entry-level programs that have a high workforce demand. Any questions on this before we move on?
No.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so we're going to transition over to some of our requirements and support services.
All right. So first, we wanted to talk about background histories. We know that's important for the folks in this group. And I want to make sure that everyone is aware that the technical college system in all of our 22 colleges, we do not do background checks in order for you to be a student enrolled in any of our programs to take classes. There are some nuances with that depending upon what is in your background that may make it more difficult for you to attend some of our classes. For example, we do have courses where there are students who are under the age of 18 enrolled through our dual enrollment programming. So if that is applicable to you, then that would be something that we would want to talk to the local college and the local advisors about, to see what options and how they set up their dual enrollment so that you would have the opportunity to attend courses that would meet your personal needs, if that is a factor. However, there is no requirement that you cannot, or there's no rule that says you cannot attend college at a technical college if you have a criminal record or have been incarcerated or any of those things. So background history is not part of the college enrollment process in terms of your ability to attend courses. As Nikki mentioned, that data is collected for financial aid purposes, but it is not a part of whether you are or not allowed to enroll in courses. That being said, there are some fields that in the course of your education process, you are expected to do what we call clinical training, or things like that, well, mostly clinical training, that would require that you get a background check as a student, and you would be required to be permitted to attend your clinical at a location that they would view that background check and be able to decide, yes, you can come, or no, you cannot come. And those are primarily completed in our healthcare fields that have a direct patient care clinical component, as well as in our early childhood education field, where those are state requirements that people have criminal background checks and fingerprinting typically to work in early childhood. That being said, while we don't have a list, we are working on getting some more concrete information in this arena. Most of the programs do look at things on a case-by-case basis. I'm sure you guys hear that frequently, that everybody's background is not the same, and everybody's background doesn't preclude them from doing everything. So there are case-by-case instances where it would be advantageous for you to speak to the advisor for the program that you're interested in, and hopefully the program director or the person overseeing that program will be able to give you some sound advice as to whether your particular background would preclude you from completing that program at that time or not. So we did want to talk about that. There are a lot of people that come to the technical college with criminal background or criminal records, and that is something that we are accustomed to. It is not something that is new and novel. It is very common. And the great thing about the technical system is nobody has to know your business unless you tell them your business. So there's not like, oh, this is where all the people go that have this on their background. Everybody is treated as a welcome student and can work through the program as their needs meet. There, to that end, also, we have our advisors. Every college has a group of advisors that are specially trained in the requirements of the program that you're interested in. So some colleges have multiple people that advise on different programs. Some colleges have individual advisors who are specialists in that program, and that's going to be unique to each college. But I would encourage all of you, if you're interested, reach out to an advisor and just make that connection and start having that conversation with them about what you would like to do, and they'll help you figure out the best pathway forward for you to make that that next step. And they would also hopefully be as well versed on the background issue that may or may not prevent you from moving forward in that moment. And then next slide. And then I also want to take a few minutes to talk about the services that the technical college system offers to support learners. So we have a very robust support system at each of our colleges. Each college has a career support division. It might not have that exact name, but if you are like, I know I want to do something, but I'm not really sure what my passion is, or I'm not really sure how to take the things I'm interested in and channel that into a career, we have career exploration tools that will help guide you. A lot of times you can do an online learning assessment, and it'll guide you into some ideas of programs that you might be interested in or might be successful in based upon how you answer the series of questions. They also have career counseling, so you can speak to a person to help you guide, that will help guide you through those same decisions, and they will make sure that the careers chosen are applicable not just to what your interests are, but also to things that you can do at that college. So it won't tell you that you're going to go be a rocket scientist and then say, well, we don't know how to help you be a rocket scientist. They will, you know, make that full connection that, oh, you're interested in this, here's the first steps in doing that. We also have a lot of support for mental health and overall wellness in our programs and in our colleges. There are oftentimes counselors or counseling services available to students if that's something that they're interested in accessing. And then we have a lot of other support services. So on campus, there are success centers at all of our colleges. Then those success centers are so amazing, and they're great resources. Not only do they have computers and internet access, so you don't have to worry about that being something you have at home. They also have tutors. They have writing support. So if you write something, you're like, you want somebody to look at it and just put their eyes on it and give you some suggestions to make it be a little bit nicer, a little prettier, or, you know, even just make sure it's spelled correctly, they can help with that. They have learning aids. So if you're taking some courses that have some training or hands-on components, they oftentimes have like body parts, what am I trying to say, mannequin parts, or task trainers or things like that that you can practice with outside of class time. all of our colleges have what's called the Special Populations Department, and that name means anybody that's not a traditional college student would be considered a special population, and they have unique resources available for special populations that they can help with that the traditional student would not have access to. If you are a student who may have a disability, whether it's a physical disability or an invisible disability or a learning disability, our Disability Services Department is a great stop because they can help you navigate what type of accommodations you may be able to get for college to help make college a more equitable experience for you. So they would work with your instructors to make sure that you have any accommodations that you are needing to have to be supportive and to help you with your college learning. And then a lot of our colleges have technology resources that can be borrowed. So I know a lot of them have laptop lending programs or hotspot lending programs that you can take advantage of, as well as they all have computer labs with internet access. So not having a computer is not a barrier to attending education. And even if you're taking online classes, you can still access the computer labs and do your online work in the computer lab rather than trying to make that work at home. I know for me, sometimes my home is way too loud and I have to go somewhere else just to get some peace and quiet. So those computer labs are a great place to go to use that technology to do your classwork if that's something that you need. And then we also, through the technical college system, have access to the Find Help Georgia website. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with that or not, but it provides information about other support services. So that might be food access or housing information if you need some additional housing resources, transportation resources, childcare resources that are zip code specific. So you put in your zip code and it tells you what's available close to you. And then you can look those up by category in terms of what organizations and what resources are serving your local community. And I've already spoken a good bit about academic advising, but we do have academic advisors that will also help you with your career choices and getting started and getting you on the path to finishing a program in the timeline.
Perfect.
And then, so next steps for y'all is first, if you already know what you want to do, then definitely let's skip on to the second step. But if you don't know what you want to do, I would encourage you to do that career assessment and that occupational interest. The technical college closest to you probably has a link on their website to something, but if you would rather, you can just go to ONET. It's O with the little star on the keyboard, net, and that is a website that will take you to a free career exploration tool that is accessible to everyone. That'll give you some ideas. I've done it several times over the years, and it has told me every single time that I should do a whole variety of things, all the way from being a train steward to being an occupational therapy practitioner, which is what I am, to being a teacher, which is what I was. So they're pretty accurate, and they show you some things you didn't even know about yourself. So that's your first step. Your second step is to connect with your local technical college to learn about the education opportunities that they have available to you. So that might mean starting with the Office of Adult Education if you need that GED or high school equivalency. It might be starting with an academic advisor because you're interested in going directly into a program, and so you can start there. And it may be that you are more interested in what's in the economic development or workforce training offerings, and so you can go to that local website or that local department for economic development or workforce training as well. And then if you're wanting to step right into that career, then that's where the WorkSource Georgia organization that we mentioned would step in. And I do want to redirect your attention over to the map on the right-hand side as we close out. So this map with all of its different colors represents our 22 colleges. So if you are in the Columbus area, for example, we have Columbus Tech, and they're in the red coloring on the left-hand side of the map down where Columbus should be. And they serve that multi-county area, thank you, of the Columbus area. And then if you're on the border, you may want to look at South Georgia Tech, which is the green organization right next to them. Or if you're a little further northeast, you might want to look at Southern Crescent Tech. So there's a lot of overlap depending upon where you live. If you are in the Metro Atlanta area, Depending upon where you live, there's Georgia Piedmont Tech, which is over on the DeKalb County side of things. There's Atlanta Tech in the Fulton County area. There's West Georgia Tech that's in Douglas County and Coweta County. There's Chattahoochee Tech, which is in Paulding, Cobb, Cherokee County. There is Gwinnett Tech, which is in Gwinnett County, also North Fulton. And I forget the other counties up there. So there's a large variety of technical colleges, and everybody in Georgia has a technical college that covers the county that they live in. And so this map is available for you. You can also go to our website, which is listed at the bottom, which is tcsg.edu, and you can click on the individual colleges and see what is available at the individual colleges as well. And then lastly, if you have other questions for Nikki or myself, please reach out. If we don't know the answers, we will do our very best to find the answers and put you in touch with the person or persons who can answer your questions. And our phone numbers and our email addresses are here.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so very much. That was so very informative, very precise. I loved it. I loved it. Loved it. I'm messing up this link. Dropping in the actual link to say final location. But thank you so very much.
That.
Are there any questions before I ask questions? Andrea, because I know you're in Georgia. I mean, you're in Columbus. Okay. Well, I think the question, I think, what did I have? I think you answered mine, and you answered everything. I know GED programs and other programs that y'all had was free. You talked about where everything's located. You did an excellent job to talk about anybody, criminal records are not something that exempts folks. It's, and if you have any restrictions of going because of the dual program. So you basically answered everything. And I think folks who watch this will actually be able to know there. And I did not know, same thing, that there were so many locations. I have never heard, I will admit, I've never heard of TCSG before last month. Because we always hear about the big ones, but I have not heard about TCSG, and I'm really glad. So I'll make sure that I will be sharing this, and I'll be sharing it so much y'all might need to cut me a little check. But I definitely would definitely look forward to our partnership and getting some, getting some of our folks there. And we'll make sure that we, send this out as well after the presentation, once the video goes out for folks to do. And also to let them know that if they do apply, I don't know if the applications ask, how did you hear about us or anything like that, or if they contact you, but we'll let them know that they, heard about this to y'all through us. So if there are no other questions, I just want to say thank you. Thank you both for joining us and giving us a really, really good presentation. And I'm excited. I have 2 masters and several certifications, but I definitely I've been looking back, with doing something with certification more along the coaching thing. Not too much technical stuff, but when I have a small business where I do, business consulting and more things like on financials, just to say I got it. And I think in this world today, you can never have too much of anything. So if one thing don't work, you can be like, okay, let me take that hat off and throw this hat on. And I think that is the importance of being able to go and try to get as many things. I think a lot of folks get stuck in this one thing, like, oh, I only do this. And then when either you get too old or your knees get too old and you can't work that job anymore, you no longer have that experience. But being able to do the certifications program. Oh, quick question. That's what I wanted to ask. On average, I know how long an associate's take, but on average, what is the average of some of the certification programs? I know you mentioned CDL. I think Andrea talked about, what was it, a mechanical or something y'all talked about? What was that one we talked about? It was the industrial maintenance. So the industrial maintenance or CDL, on average, if a person was attending in person or either virtually, on average, how long is this something y'all have programs that somebody wanted to do under 6 months, 3 to 6 months, or is everything under at least a year?
We do our certificate programs on the credit side. Let's talk about the credit side first. Those can be from 3 credit hours up to, is it 15 credit hours, Nikki? 16?
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So yes, you're correct. Yes.
So depending upon how the progression is, 16 credit hours can be done in one semester potentially, but it's really hard. So those are usually 2 semester programs, or they might split them into mini semesters, so 8-week semester and an 8-week semester inside one semester. But the credit side also runs off the semester system, so there's 16-week blocks, and then the summer semester is usually 10, so it's a rolling start. So you may, and I'm saying that to say you may be interested in starting, but if like now it's October, you would have to wait until January when the spring semester begins in order to start your program.
Okay.
But it could possibly be done in one semester. And then diploma programs are longer than certificate programs, but shorter than associate degree programs. But
So on average, what's a good example? Why would a person tend to do a 1-year diploma as opposed to adding another year and just getting the associates?
Yeah, so go
no, you
ahead.
take that one.
No, okay. So that's a great question. And I'm going to stick with one where we actually get that a lot, and that's going to be EMS. So we have certificates for basic, and then it's a 1 semester program. And then if you like it and you want to continue on and progress on with one, if you work at a fire department, they give you more money if you go to the next level. And then 2, then you get a higher level of learning. Then so it's basic and then advanced. So we have that as certificates where you get those individually. So you can go in and you're workforce ready, you sit for your certification exam. Or if you know for certain that's what you want to do, then you probably want to start off with getting the degree, because what happens is those certificates along with your core classes are going to be embedded in there. And when you are done with that, when you go work for a fire department, they pay your higher level by education level. So it just depends on your goals. If you need to get out and start working and then build your way up, you can do it in certificate level. If you are saying, hey, I just graduated from high school, I can take my time and I want to do this and whatever while I'm doing something else, I would do associate degree, because then by the time you do finish, you'll get the same skills, you have the same certifications, but you're going to get paid entry level higher than me who did a certificate only. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. I think that concludes everything, and you all have been amazing and awesome. And I like to encourage folks on the call to be sure to register for our upcoming events by going to our website at www.nlscoinc.org to register for our upcoming events. And this has been a dynamic kickoff to our webinar series. And so we're excited. So we're going to make sure we're going to get this recorded, and the chat links will be sent to you as well. Will the presentation be made available? If not, it's okay. But if it is, fine. If not, if there are certain ones that you would like to just send to us and say, hey, Wally, should you want to send this to a few folks, like the one with the location map, or just the one that talks about the GED free. If that's something you want, whatever it is, send it to us and we'll make sure we get it sent out. If not, it's no big deal in a way, because you can see the video. But it's no extra work because it's been on the video. But we thank you and we appreciate you so very much. And you all have a great, great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.